The end.
Win free airtime with #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. WhatsApp your feedback, name and town to 081-200-6659. #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
Do you have a good claims history with a previous insurance history of at least 2 years? Are you a single financially independent woman or over the age of 55 but not a pensioner yet? Are you a professional? If yes, SMS cover to 555 and we will call you back to get you insured for less.
Morning, Namibia. Morning, grade 4s and 5s. My name is Teacher Kennedy. Welcome to MyZone online school. With me here is Chanel. Before we get into our lesson, let's start by sanitizing. Chanel, let's sanitize. Let's rub outside and in between fingers. Right, today's lesson is on plurals. Okay, boys and girls, let's turn our booklets to page 3, where we are talking about plurals and plural rules. But before we get in deeper into our lesson, let's talk about the competencies. At the end of the lesson, learners should be able to identify and use different types of nouns in plural forms. Yes, by the end of this lesson, I hope everyone will be able to identify, whenever you are reading, be able to identify nouns and be able to change them or use them in their plural forms, various plural forms. Remember last time we talked about 6 rules that are to be followed when we are changing nouns to their plural forms. And we said plural, we are talking about many things. When we are talking about singular, we are talking about only one. The rule number 1 that we talked about is that most of the nouns, they simply add an S when we are talking about them in many, as there are many, or in their plural form. Number 2, if the word ends in CH, SH, SS or double S, S or X, we add an ES when we are pluralizing. Number 3, if the word ends with a vowel and a Y, we add an S. If the word ends in an O, we add ES. Some words ending in an O, we add S in their plural form. There are also other nouns that end with double O, we simply add an S. Let's turn our books to page 4. That's where we are having today's lesson. There we are having 3 new rules for pluralizing nouns. We'll continue from where we left. Rule number 7. What does it say? If a word ends in a Y, we take away the Y and add IES. In other words, I can throw away the Y, forget about the Y, and replace the Y with IES. For example, country. Country is a noun, and it's ending with a Y. When there are more than one countries, I remove the Y. I replace the Y with IES to become countries. Story. Stories. That's rule number 7. Throw away the Y. Replace with IES. Let's go to rule number 8. If a word ends in F, we take away the F and add VES. Take away, the way you take away the Y. If the word is ended with an F, remove. Throw away the F, but replace it with the VES. Let's look at the examples. Example number 1 is the wolf. It's ending with F. When there are many wolves, we have replaced the F. F is no longer there. We replaced it with VES. Calf, calves. Remember this. There are also irregular plurals that do not follow the rules. Some nouns do not follow these rules, these 9 rules. For example, tooth, it changes completely to teeth. Man, with MAN, will change completely to MEN, men. Foot, feet. Child, children. Guys, let's remember these rules are very important. Remember, our basic competence is to be able to change nouns and follow the rules, turn them into their plural forms. Let's turn our books to page 5, where we have our activities. Let's start with activity number 1. Fill in the plural form of each of these nouns by following one of the first 6 rules. You can see that there are different nouns ending with the different letters there, meaning to say you need to consider the first 6 rules that we talked about. For example, number 1, we are given an example there. An apple, 1 apple, many apples. We added an S there. House, houses. Then you will do the rest. We've got fish, man, family, hand, bus, tooth, dictionary, monkey. If you have forgotten, you have to refer to the first 6 rules. B, write the following sentences into plural. Remember one thing, is, but many things. One thing, you say is. Many things, we say are. For example, I draw a picture on a paper. We drew pictures on papers. So the word that we have changed to its plural form is paper, to papers, by adding S. Number one is saying, there is a child in front of the tree. How are you going to change that sentence and write the nouns into their plural forms? The noun that we are having there is tree and child. If I were you, I was going to say, there are children in front of the trees. So you do the rest. Number 2 is saying, I am your best friend. How do you pluralize that one? There is a pen under the book. The first thing is to identify the nouns and be able to change them into their plural forms. Let's continue to page 6. Activity number 2. Activity number 2. Write the plural form of each word under the pictures. Draw a picture of each plural word on the correct carpet so that it matches the correct rule. We are given pictures there, but your task is to write in the plural form. The first picture is, what is that thing that is being shown on the first picture? It's a mouse. Very correct. When there are many, it's mice. Number 2, I'm seeing a sheep. So it's your task, your assignment, to write the plurals of the pictures shown on page 6, activity 2. You have to continue with the pictures that are shown there and follow the instructions. Let's continue. Activity number 3 on page 7. Activity number 3 on page 7. Search for the hidden words and color them in. You are given some guidelines there. The words are below. Girls, heads, stars, buses, boys, moose, mice, babies. You have to look for these words. They are there. For example, in the first column, I am seeing the word boys, the noun boys. I can color that one. So do the same until you finish all the nouns given below. Page 8, activity number 4, words ending in Y, take away the Y and add IES. It's a matter of repetition. The Y rule, where you throw away the Y, replace with IES. Words ending in F or FE, take away the F or FE and replace or add VES. Remember that not all words ending in F get VES. There are some who are or who do not follow the rules. Fill in the plural form of each of these pictures by adding the correct rule form of plurals. We have got a baby there, and we are being shown the pictures of 2 babies. So in other words, baby becomes babies. We are following the Y rule, where we are throwing the Y and replace with IES. We are having the thief there, and there are now many. How do you pluralize it? The F or FE rule, where you are throwing the F or FE and replace with the VES. Thank you so very much. I want to believe that we are all following, because I know you are good boys and girls. Okay, boys and girls, let's turn our books to page 5, where we are having an interesting comprehension passage. And this comprehension passage is full with nouns. Page number 9. There are nouns that are in singular form And some are in the plural form. You will be able to identify them. Okay, I'm going to read in your hearing the passage. The topic is robbing the butchery. Mr. Mayber was the best butcher in town. He had tasty loaves of ham and strings of sausages. His best-selling item was the oryx steaks. He cut the steaks in thick slices with his sharp knives. People paid lots of money to get the best meat. One evening, after Mr. Mayber had locked his store, 2 thieves broke in and stole all the money he made that day. People were upset and helped the police to look for the thieves. They found them hiding on someone's roof. They were going to use the money to buy nappies for their babies. The butcher agreed to let them clean his shop for a whole month as punishment. He would provide their babies with nappies, but they would not get paid until they had paid off their debts. The thieves believe there is no better man than Mr. Mayber, who helped them in hard times. Today, they own their factories and sell scarves with butterflies and the ponies on them. They are also helping the poor to keep warm in winter. They do not steal anymore. That's our story. Is that not interesting? And below our passage, remember what I told you. Read for the first time. Go to the questions and read for the second time. There you'll be knowing what you are looking for from the passage. Underline all nouns ending in Y. In the plural form, they end in the IES. In the passage, and write them down there. There are many nouns there ending in Y. And there's also many nouns there that are already pluralized by adding IES. Number 2 is saying, underline all the nouns ending in F. In the plural, they end in VES. Number 3, who was the owner of the butchery? What is sold at a butchery? Which meat was his best seller? What bad thing happened one evening? Where did the people find the thieves? Who uses nappies? What was the thieves' punishment? What do the thieves do now? As I'm asking these questions, the answers are clicking into my head because I've read the passage. So, thank you so very much, boys and girls. It has been a wonderful lesson. We have learned all the rules when it comes to pluralizing nouns. And I want to believe you are now able to identify nouns. You are now able to use nouns in their plural forms, and you are also able to use the rules accordingly. Thank you so very much. We have to meet in the next lessons. But before we go, Chanel, the rule says we should what? Sanitize. Let's sanitize, because we've been touching books, tables, yes, and the chalks. So we need to sanitize. And let's not forget to keep the social distance. At least 1.5 meters apart. Bye-bye for now.
Hi everyone, my name is Rossi, I'm back. And you can always stay active throughout the lockdown. You can play with your friends, but keep your distance. Like me and my friend. Yay! And you can also jog and sing to be active. Until next time, bye!
I'm feeling so bad because of you. I have been arrested. We are trying to sell to provide our kids with food, but the police, they come to arrest us.
I was literally apprehended in Independence Avenue. I mean, there was no prior communications with the police or with Bonn or Benga Namibia. These guys literally just apprehended us on surprise.
And when you are talking in a manner that is exaggerated about brutality in this country, I should ask you in which country you live.
Yes, I can confirm that indeed there were 2 cell phones that were found after a search was conducted at the cells that the Fish Road accused are staying.
Do you understand the amount of money that the government has spent on the fight against COVID-19? Could they have spent 300 million on tracing people and managing people? Is that even possible?
Angula kanana eke na matinino itakofo dalembe navaka vesinge neno tansivange navaka mushinge neno tansivange ndoko chitaishira ndoko mutiane menandi hupinda kangwali yandi tenekwa ndoko ushiro wokongo ndoko kambali nonane ndoke kokala na miti yandi tenekwa nange takaduru manande fia kotea nandi ndate kwangi yandi tenekwa ndoko uchoane pando kunembu tiketi dinoruka kumono dinoko nyono waki yandi tenekwa karingoti kanlevekeni Ohanangala mangwa onu menu wako fapandekwa Kondenda poka umbokea jova pofi Konda pita poka tungwa kenova kwa madari Konda fia tabeli pula Nokucha pamoye karingoti kanlevegeni Kanosikia tutalelwa Okunongo mukanya okunwa momayo Onkulu wakangwala yondenge ayambeko Kanosikia tutalelwa Otava pangiro mangela shashovala kutala Ndoko shitaishiera ndoko mutiane menandi hupinda kangwali yandi tenekwa Ndoku ushiro wokongo ndoko kambali nonane ndoke kokala na miti yandi tenekwa Nange takaduru manande mfia kotea nandi ndate kwangi yandi tenekwa Ndoku uchoane pando kunemburu dikedi dinoruka kumonu dinongo nyomo waki yandi tenekwa Ona pangiro mangela Ndite uluko mafuta Nditata eponjala Ndongu dite itipo Ndoko shuarongo mpiti ndaketo shirongo Mbato shishivesila lakane shififi nyonjuo Ndikulo mwelelo tete fikunda Ndoka besa fikunda Ameka mbabanduka kokushimba Eha ndutu na wandijo ntumba Molole ndilo fika meka mbaba Ashipala shomonya hakutondoka no nyanya Ngela changalingali ndoka ndoka shomea Ndoko shitaishiera ndoko mutiane menandi hupinda kangwali yandi tenekwa Ndoku ushiro wokongo ndoko kambali nonane ndoke kokala na miti yandi tenekwa Nange takaduru manande mfia kotea nandi ndate kwangi yandi tenekwa Ndoku uchoane pando kunembu tiketi dinoruka kumono dinoko nyomo waki yandi tenekwa Ondino madina hapuna ndefero lishona neno tambikine Haikala koni moto tema Yanda mamungulo tostamwa Amame pumumula nekanda na shea amame ngopala
humanitarian crises are all too familiar to television viewers. Civil wars that cause huge movements of refugees, worldwide pandemics, and natural disasters like earthquakes and tsunamis. This is the way most of us are used to seeing these heart-wrenching events, on a screen in front of us, watching passively. But what if you could step into the frame and actually feel what it's like for the individuals on the ground?
People come out of it feeling enlightened and often moved and often ready to take action. A lot of people automatically say, well, what can I do? How can I get involved?
Garbo Aurora is leading a team at the United Nations who are using cutting-edge technology to raise awareness, empathy, and funds, both to respond to humanitarian crises and to bolster support for a new set of sustainable development goals around the globe.
Virtual reality is the ability to really take part in a story that usually you're only a passive spectator on. And you actually get the sensation of feeling like you're being there.
By using multiple cameras that can record in all directions and software that can stitch the images together, virtual reality creates an experience that enables the viewer to see a movie from every angle, above, below, and behind.
It's exciting for the UN, to be involved in some of those early experiments of how we're trying to tell stories, make these films, and work with some of the most cutting-edge people in the industry on it.
So the UN reached out to us and connected, and we realized that there was a great opportunity here to tell some very important stories and to tell them in a way that we thought would be totally new and highly impactful. The way that I define virtual reality at this point in time is basically the hacking of your senses to convince you that you're somewhere other than where you are. Often, I think of it as a sense of vulnerability. So one of the things we've realized in some of our stories is you have a heightened sense of empathy and a heightened sense of connection as a result of that vulnerability.
That heightened sense of connection and empathy was exactly what Garbo Aurora was looking to create at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Not only to inspire leaders to take action, but also to influence donors to increase funding for disaster response efforts.
I'd started experimenting with using innovative ways of advocacy, and I started talking to a lot of different partners and people. What could we do that would be incredible? And someone said, I just came from a meeting at Samsung, and, with some of these other virtual reality headsets, wouldn't it be amazing if you got all of those elite people who could actually go to a refugee camp, or they could go to an Ebola clinic? I just really felt it would get our issues highlighted.
In addition to the screenings at Davos, virtual reality portals have been set up to view the films at high-level political forums around the world. The virtual reality film on display was Clouds Over Sidra.
Clouds Over Sidra is a short film in virtual reality about a girl named Sidra who lives in Zatari camp, which is a Syrian refugee camp in Jordan. And it is a story about a young girl who is giving you a tour of the camp, of what it's like, what her life is like. When the film debuted in Davos, it was a sensation to everyone we showed it to. They come out of it very deeply moved. I'd say half the people who watch Clouds Over Sidra cry. And then we cut a version for UNICEF for its face-to-face fundraisers. The way they do that is usually someone with a clipboard on the street